what's going on YouTube? It is your girl Chrissy with another episode of Ciphered Knowledge. We have, I say it all the time. I like to provide information and knowledge to the viewers where they would sometimes not get it from other places. And sometimes it's really heavy and serious. But tonight we're going to have fun with this information we'll be disseminating amongst you people out there. I have my special guest, Don Smith. He is an actor, comedian, radio personality. I mean, he is, I guess, a triple threat. Is that what that is?
Yeah, something like that. I'm hoping that's all the threats. There may be more threats. I don't know.
So introduce yourself to the audience so they can know who you are.
Well, my name's Don Smith. Like she said, I'm an actor, comedian, radio show host, podcaster, comedy club co-owner, HVAC tech, a little bit of everything. I don't stop. I host the Life radio show on WWSU 106.9 FM. I've been doing that show for over 6 years now, over 4 years releasing it as a podcast as well. I bring on local comedians, filmmakers, actors, musicians, anybody that wants to come on and have a laugh. We have as much fun as possible. Sometimes we get serious. I've had some people that surprised me and got very serious on my show, and I just roll with it because sometimes you have to do that. One of my favorites, just an example, there's a young lady who wrote a book, and that's all I was told is that she wrote a book. So I'm thinking, okay, she's on to promote her book, and we start talking, and I find out that she's writing a book about a fella that was found dead on her property up in the side of a mountain. And she found him, and it's a guy that she had been dating.
Was it Carol Baskin?
And that's the thought. She ended up being a really good interview, but I didn't know any of this when I started talking to her. So here I am on a podcast. Tell me about your book.
It's like, well, it's about some dead guy that I dated, and they found him on my property just by accident.
Right, just happened to be right there where I pointed him out. So yeah, I have all kinds of people on my show. I'm always interested in a good story and a fun time, and I like to talk to different, interesting people.
So what made you decide? When did you wake up in the morning and say, acting, comedian? Like when did you have that epiphany?
Never. I've been a fan of stand-up comedy my whole life. I used to watch it with my dad. I used to watch some of the old classics, George Carlin. I know Bill Cosby's kind of frowned on now, but he was funny then. I grew up with it. I grew up with that weird sense of humor. I never really did anything with it until I was 25 years old. I was unemployed. I was kind of down, and I auditioned for a play at a local theater. It was the Dayton Theater Guild. They were doing a play called Epic Proportions. I had never done anything like this, and I walked in off the street and said, I'm here to audition. They handed me a piece of paper and said, well, fill out your acting experience, and I handed it back to them. I said, that about sums it up. And they said, well, even if you did something in high school, and they handed me the paper back, and I handed it back to them and said, I didn't. So I auditioned. I got cast in 7 different roles, including the offstage narration.
How did that happen?
Because at the time I could do more, but I can still do a lot of weird voices and different accents. And the way Epic Proportions is kind of a comedy spoof where it's making fun of like the Ben-Hur movies and all the old epic movies that they made in the like 20s and 30s with casts of millions. And basically, unless you were one of the lead 2 characters, you were playing about 5 or 6 different parts. So it ended up being a lot of fun. I was scared to death because I'd never done anything like this, and we recorded my narration ahead of time. So I'm sitting backstage waiting in the wings because I'm also one of the first characters on stage. And I was seriously terrified. A lot of people don't know this. I get stage fright.
Really?
Like bad. Before I go on, I'm
Okay.
terrified. And once I heard my voice booming over the speakers and it was getting laughs already, I thought, okay, I can survive this. If I'm getting laughs, I can survive it. And basically, I had so much fun doing that show that I didn't do another one for 4 years.
He was like, that's it. I am not going to push it. One and done.
Yeah. But no, it ended up being a lot of fun. And I seriously took, I think it was 3 or 4 years before I did another show. And I did get back into it, and I started doing a lot more theater locally. I tried film a little bit here and there. And then for several years, I got out of it. I didn't do any of it. And mostly because my work schedule was crazy. I was working a lot of third shift, second shift jobs, and you just don't have time for theater. So one day I thought, well, I still have that urge. I guess it's an urge to get on stage and entertain. Right. Yeah. Who knows? I could have just had somebody pull my finger and I'd have never got on stage again. I'd have been good. But no, I still had that urge to get on stage and entertain. So I thought, I don't have time to do theater. Stand-up comedy, I can write my own material. I can study my own material. I can get up. It's quick, in and out, and done, which is so not true. It's a lot. I think it is a lot of work.
Yeah, even getting into podcasting, I thought, oh, it's not a lot of work. It's like a third job. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Which podcasting was an accident, too. But I started performing comedy, which my first show, I went back late to finish my bachelor's degree because it's just something I always wanted to make sure I had. It was a bucket list thing. So I went back. I was 35 years old when I started going back to finish my bachelor's, which I did finish before I was 40, but I was going full time. And at Wright State University, they offered a class that was just titled, I was working on an English degree, and this was an English class that was titled Comedy Writing. So I thought, well, that would be fun. And then I got in the class, and it was called Basics of Stand-Up Comedy. The final exam was a 4-minute set at the Dayton Funny Bone.
You were like, I got this.
Oh, yeah. It was great.
That was an easy A, and you didn't have to do anything extra for it.
It was a blast. It was a blast because I really, and the interesting thing about it, they still offer that class there. And if anybody's thinking of taking a class like that, if you're new to college or even if you're going back, if you want to make friends, take that class because you're trading stories that are real. And that's the thing about comedy that most people don't understand. They think, oh, they're just goofy telling jokes. It's like, no, this is us. Most comics, their comedy comes out of who they are. It comes out of their life. It comes out of things that they've experienced. And that class, I have more people in that class that I keep in contact with since I've been out of school than any other class I was in. And that's why, because we know each other so much better because you're forced to share who you really are. And that's the cool thing about it. But I had a blast. I loved that class, and I just kept going. I'm one of the few that went through that class that still performs. And I haven't for a while because of COVID. I was actually taking last January, I decided to take a break from stand-up because I am finally working a job where I can get on stage and do theater again, which is still my first love. And as soon as I took the time off from comedy to do theater, COVID hit and all the theaters closed. So I think somebody's trying to tell me something.
No. What are some things that you've been in some movie films, yes?
Yes.
So where can somebody see you?
All over the place. I have a lot of films right now that I'm in, a lot of movies, and one TV show I'm in that is available on Amazon Prime. A couple of the movies that just came out recently. There's one horror movie called The Goocher, which is a strange name but a fun show. Then there's there's an action film called Black Mamba, which is not a porn.
Shucks.
Yeah.
You said action film, so you know.
Right. Not that kind of action, different kind of action. There's a series I was in that's available on Amazon Prime right now called Boggy Creek, the series, which is about Bigfoot. And I get to be a featured lead on episode 2. Super fun film directed by my good friend Henrik Kuto. I've worked with him on a couple other movies. He's super fun to work with. I've worked with William Lee a lot. I think he's listening right now. I think I just saw William pop up right there. Love William to death. I've worked on like 7 or 8 movies with him so far, and every time I've grown as an actor so much with him where I didn't with just because I've gotten so comfortable on his sets because I know everybody so well. And there was one of my favorites I did with him, which is a story I love to tell. I've told it on my show a couple times. There was a movie called 6 Feet Below Hell, which was a zombie movie, but it spent 2.5 years, I think, on Redbox, available for rent. Okay. Because it was just a crazy amount of time for this show to spend on there. And yeah. I love independent film because you really have to roll with the punches. I played the character of Reggie on 6 Feet Below Hell, which is not the character I was cast as. I was cast as a totally different character, and I wasn't due on set for like 3 weeks. Now here comes the first weekend of filming, and the guy that's playing Reggie just quits. Just within less than 24 hours before we're due on set, he just says, I'm not doing this. So, of course, William gets online. He's like, I'm going to have to rewrite. And I send him a message. I'm like, dude, don't rewrite. I'll take the lead. I'll jump in. It wasn't a lead, but it was a super fun part to play. But I sent him a message. I said, I'll jump in as Reggie, and that gives you 3 weeks to cast my character again. So, okay, fine. So we get to set the next day. The person that was supposed to open and unlock the building for us so we could get into our set was passed out drunk inside the building, so we couldn't get in. So we're all scrambling, and 2 hours later we come up with a new place to go film. And we pack up in our cars, we head over to the new place, we get there, which is nothing like the original place. And the way the script was written for this scene, which was my first scene as Reggie, we had nothing matched what the script was. So we ended up, I ad-libbed that entire first scene, including the weapon I used, because I was supposed to walk in and disable 3 bad guys that were beating up my daddy. And we're looking around for something to use as a weapon, and not even one of our props. It was the place we were in. For some reason, they had a croquet mallet leaning up against the wall, and I said, dude, that's my weapon. So Reggie's introduction is Reggie's kind of a backwards hillbilly, kind of not too bright, but his introduction to this movie is he comes in wielding this croquet mallet and disabled these 3 heavily armed guys.
So where can I see this? Amazon Prime? Like, I have to go watch this now when we're done.
I believe you can find it on Amazon still.
Yes.
It is super fun. It's super fun. Definitely one of my favorites that I've been involved in, which says a lot because I've been involved in so many movies that were just such a blast to be part of. And that all happened because I started doing stand-up. That's how I got back into acting. Because like I said, I took a break for several years from acting and everything. And once I started back into stand-up, I started the Life radio show as a way to keep in touch with a lot of the local comics because I was working full-time. I was a full-time student. I was working 2 jobs at the time. I had a part-time job as well, plus trying to do stand-up. And I started the show so I could keep in touch. And it's kind of just kept growing from there. 6 years later, I'm still doing the radio show. 4 years ago, I turned it into a podcast, which was not something I planned on doing. The way that happened is my second year doing the radio show, I had a co-host that I invited on because he had a podcast.
Okay.
And he would take my show, we'd record my show, and he would release it as part of his podcast. And then, unfortunately, we had a falling out. That's why
Sounds
I'm not going to mention his name or his show. But we did have a falling out, and the problem is, when I started doing the show again by myself, I had a lot of people that expected it to be available as a podcast as well, because for the past year it had. So I was like, okay, fine. And that's how the podcast was born. I said, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'll just record it and stick it up somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's 4 years ago, and that is still my theory on podcasting. Record it, stick it up somewhere.
So where can people hear all of that?
The Life radio show, I released that. Actually, right now I'm doing 3 new episodes a week. The new episodes come out Sunday morning, Tuesday morning, and Friday morning. And then every Thursday, I do a throwback where I play an old show from like 4 years ago.
Oh.
And I'm going through and re-releasing them, because a lot of the podcast formats, they'll only, if it's not your main feed, you can only release 100 episodes, and then they start dropping off. So I've got, I believe I've got like 445 episodes.
I can't even fathom that. I'm like still in double digits, like nowhere even near 50 yet. Like, I'm a newbie. I am still drinking breast milk.
Enjoy it while you can.
Yes. You get jaded. No. We won't get jaded. No, I've met some great people along the way. You being one of them, definitely. I did do Don's show. So if you go back to my feed in Ciphered Knowledge, the link is there. You can click it. We had some fun. I'm still thinking about that bacon pig robot.
Oh, okay, yeah. I cover so many news stories. Half of them I forget.
So tell us what you do on that second half of your show.
The second half of my show, and again, this was completely born out of accident. The second half of my show, what I do is I'm pulling news stories off the internet. Now, I'm going strictly on headline. I have not read these. I'm pulling them up as I'm talking to my guests, and they're very strange, unusual news stories. It's not like the big headline news stories that are all political crap anyway, and, I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. For example, the past couple of weeks, there's one I've been following. You
following one? It's ongoing?
Because this couple keeps doing it.
What doing what?
This is out of South Carolina. It's I think it's Lori and Mark Harmon, maybe something like that. They a couple weeks ago they were busted on a Ferris wheel in Myrtle Beach, doing the deed. And
really?
Yes, in public. Recording it to upload it to a porn site.
No.
Yes. So, of course, the police downloaded it, so they now have a copy of exactly what they did. And this is not the first time. They already had pending charges from December when they did it somewhere else. And the woman, Lori Harmon, who is such a classy individual, she has extra charges because she urinated in a hotel elevator.
No. On camera?
And on 2 vending machines.
Oh my Jesus. Can that be like attempted murder or something with COVID and everything? Like, what the hell?
Now, I talked about them a couple weeks ago. Last week, Actually, I just talked about it on my show last week, and plus I do another show called Breaking the Fourth Wall every Sunday. It's a panel podcast that's put out by a couple other people, and I do a news segment on there because that's kind of what the fun part of my show is. It's called the News Buffet. I do that on Breaking the Fourth Wall podcast, and we just talked about this tonight, actually, and this same couple got busted again having sex in a supermarket parking lot and on a park bench.
What the hell? Like, what are they trying for? Like, are these do you know if these are misdemeanor charges or like?
I have no idea. They keep getting released on bail, and apparently they're making enough off of uploading this to those porn sites to where they're able to keep paying their bail.
Don, I found my new job.
But yeah, that's the kind of fun news that I like to cover, and because it gets a conversation going, and as long as it gets a conversation going, and like I said, I don't look at these ahead of time, so it's all ad-lib, spontaneous, crazy.
I tell you? Go ahead.
And it's the way that started. Well, you host a podcast, so you know every now and then you get a guest that does not talk much.
Yes.
I'm the exception. I usually don't shut up.
I love it. But makes my job easier.
Exactly. When you have a talkative guest, all you have to do is sit back, and it's just a wonderful time to be a podcaster. But when you have a live radio show and you have a guest that any information and any discussion you get out of them, you have to drag out of them, and they do it kicking and screaming, you'll understand that every now and then you need something to fall back on, because my shows started off strictly talk. We talked about them. We had a discussion, but there was no news stories. Well, it got to the point where there were a handful of guests that were just good people, but duds. Yeah. They did not want to talk. And so I started gathering up these news stories during the week. It's like, okay, if they're not going to talk, we'll do these. And that's how the news segment got born, is out of necessity. Because at the time, I had 2 hours of live radio to cover. And if you got somebody that doesn't want to talk, that's rough.
Yeah, and I've had a few where I've had to like come in and be like, all right, well, it's gonna be just the Chrissy show, like. But I'm not having that problem with you, and I love it. It makes it so much easier. But can I tell you, there was another one that we did on your show. It was in Tokyo. It was the underwater Santa Claus, the scuba Santa Claus. I don't know if you remember.
I don't.
So look, you see, so there was the reason why I'm bringing it up is because then I saw something on the news that was similar to it. It was this in Tokyo. They dress up as Santa Claus and go into the aquarium tank, and they have scuba gear on, and then like that's how the kids. So what was so funny was one day I was just sitting on the bed watching TV, and I didn't have the volume up, but I look up and there's some woman in a Santa Claus suit, in scuba gear, in water. And I was like, holy shit! That's what he was talking about. Like,
he wasn't making that up.
No, because I was trying to visualize it. Like, what does this look like? You know, because it's just a story, and you got to imagine and make it up in your head what it looks like. Right. And I was like, there it goes. I was like, all right, awesome. That's what it looks like.
Yes. There's so much fun news out there that. And that, like I said, that all was, so much of my life was completely born out of accident. My radio show, the podcast started by accident. The news segment started by accident. You know, I was even cast as Reggie by accident. And there's more to that story. We had so much fun ad-libbing that part. I know this is a spoiler alert, but this movie's been out there for like 4 years now. Reggie was supposed to die in the original script.
You got to keep him alive.
We had so much fun ad-libbing that we kept him alive. William rewrote the end of the movie and brought me back to kill one of the bad guys.
Oh, I have to watch this now. Like, this is an automatic. I have to go watch. Like, definitely. So, when we were talking and stuff, and I was like, I kind of want to pick. So, like I said, my show is, about providing knowledge and information through experience or professionals, and you're both professional as well as experience. But I wanted to kind of piggyback off of your show with your news stories, and I was like, all right, well, we could do some factual information, although those are factual information. But I thought I knew. In the back of my mind, there was like these obscure laws that are still on the books, right? That are literally, and I was telling you, I don't have it on this list, but I was telling you behind the scenes, in 11 states, it is still illegal to perform oral sex. It is a misdemeanor. Even with your even with your spouse, it's not. And of course, Florida is one of the states.
Which that's weird to me because Florida sucks in general. If there was ever a state where you should be allowed to suck, it's Florida because that's the capital. I lived there for a year and a half. That place sucks.
I say Florida and Texas are its own country. It shouldn't even be included as a state. Neither one of those. But Texas, I can see that. Florida, I don't know. They're too entertaining. You keep them around kind of like that one black sheep cousin that nobody really talks about in the family that doesn't get invited. You really, I can't see that. But I'm talking about the one that's really bad, like the Harmons would get caught having sex on a Ferris wheel. Those are the. Those are the ones that that's Florida. Florida is the cross-eyed cousin of the United States. I had something else to say, but I'm going to leave it to myself. I don't want to offend anybody. So we will not, Christina won't go there. I try not to offend. But sticking with the state of Florida. So what I want to do is kind of throw out these obscure laws. I want to see what Don's commentary is on them. So in Florida, people who own bars, restaurants, and other places where liquor is sold may be fined up to $1,000 if they participate in or permit any contest of dwarf tossing.
I would say the amount of money you can make on a good dwarf tossing, you can pay that fine. Go for it. Go. You're Florida. What the hell do you care? I mean, I know some little people that they might be into it. I don't know. I just if it's Florida, just like the sucking law, if they're consenting adults, who cares? It's none of your business.
Exactly.
But I think the whole dwarf tossing, I don't know. It seems a little strange to me. But how does that work? I don't know. I don't know the rules of the game, I guess. Is it like darts? Do they wear sharp helmets or something?
But it's only in bars and restaurants where liquor's sold. So if you go to IHOP, you can do it.
Perfect, because there's nothing I like better with my pancakes than throwing around a dwarf. That's
it's only where liquor is sold.
Yeah, because I mean, where else are you going to get the dwarf drunk enough that they'll agree to be tossed?
Well, you could get them drunk on syrup if they're diabetic.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, just keep drinking that syrup. As soon as he goes into a diabetic coma, we're tossing him. That's all there is to it. It's IHOP. We can do that.
I'm saying. See, I think I am a little funny.
Exactly. Yeah, because I wouldn't have thought to go to IHOP for dwarf tossing. That's not.
Neither did I. It just came to me.
Yeah.
By accident.
I mean, Denny's, yes.
You know what? They have Denny's, more Denny's down there than anything else.
Oh yeah. Well, they got rid of Stuckey's, I think, which is like that's like the way deep south Denny's. Stuckey's was. That's I'm pretty sure you're required to toss a dwarf when you go into there. I think that's why they closed him down.
Why say get him drunk at the bar and then take him to IHOP?
Right. Yeah, but whatever you do, don't toss him in the car.
No, can't. I don't know that he could tuck and roll. Right? So, like, I'm not sure he has that ability. We're going to hell, Don. Right? So, or in Pennsylvania, if you're registered in a hotel as Mr. or Mrs., you are considered married. Listen, let me tell you something, right?
That's frightening. Is that considered married just in Pennsylvania, or is that just follow you? Because if you move out of Pennsylvania, do you have to get a divorce?
I think you're momentarily married. Which at that point, I would want to talk to the lady who wrote the book, right? That came on your show and kind of find out how things are done. Because
you might have to have them knocked off later. Yeah, that's all. Well, no,
while we're still registered at the hotel, it's got to kind of happen.
Can you imagine how many businessmen in Pennsylvania are married to prostitutes and don't even know it?
Yeah.
I mean, congratulations, but you should have read the fine print, I guess.
And it's not, now you're going to court and half your shit is gone and your wife is like, what in the world? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so that is one expensive hotel bill right there.
Yeah. So think about it, guys. Think about it. Yeah. In Arizona, it is against the law to have a sleeping donkey in your bathtub after 7 p.m.
Well, you got to wash them quicker. That's really, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's advice that should follow you throughout your life is keep the sleeping donkey out of your bathtub. Is it okay if they're awake?
I would think so, right? So just don't give them any ketamine and you're fine.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as they're, I mean, I don't know. Keep some Narcan or something just to give them a little adrenaline to wake them back up, so you can keep, I guess, washing your donkey, which could be a euphemism. What are you doing? I'm washing my donkey. Close the door.
Don't let that donkey go to sleep. All right, that donkey better stay up all night.
That's in Arizona.
That is in Arizona. Do they survive? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. In Arizona, yeah. Have you been there?
Never been to Arizona.
If you had been there, you'd know. That's like donkey show training central. That's where you go to learn how to put on a good donkey show, and then you have to go across the border to actually you're allowed to train there. That's why that law's in place, because you have to get them out of there by 7 o'clock, have them up and ready to go, because that's when the donkey shows start happening. You got to go to
Tijuana for them donkey shows.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure they might be in Juarez too. I don't know, but I think that you'd probably have the cartels take you out quicker there.
Yeah. I don't know why a mule. I don't know. It doesn't say anything about a horse either.
That's true. Because what about cattle? Can you wash your cow?
It's just saying in your tub. It didn't even say anything about washing. Just in your tub. Is that where they used to hide them? Because I'm thinking of those bear clawfoot tubs, right? And a donkey isn't that big. I don't know. That's the tub I'm envisioning right now. Well, who knows?
Yeah, we'll have to dig further. I'll work on it. I'll get a report together for you.
Sounds good. Now, this one, I just had to when I found it. He wants to know, how do you know about the donkey shows? You don't know what I know, Mr. Dwayne. You don't know what I know.
Everybody knows about the donkey shows.
Ciphered knowledge with Chrissy. Ciphered knowledge. I've got some kind of knowledge here.
We are teaching people right now.
That's what this is all about. Disseminating information to the mass.
Yeah. And that's not artificial dissemination.
No. Why everybody want to know how I know? Don't worry how I know. How do you know?
Right.
How do you know what I'm talking about? So this one I figured I had to pull out because it just goes to the old joke, which is, did you know that in Quitman, Georgia, if you own chickens, it is illegal to let them cross the road?
Just in Whitman, Georgia?
Yeah. In Quitman, Georgia, it is illegal to let them cross the road. I feel like
I think it's just the joke confuses them down there. They're not sure what's going on. I think, yeah. Why did the chicken cross the road? Because it's illegal.
There you see? They just have to put it on the books. They were like, we don't know the answer to that. We're just going to make it illegal, and therefore that is the answer.
Right, exactly. They had to find. They're very literal people down there. And what was the name of the town again?
Quitman, Georgia.
Quitman.
Quitman. Quitman.
Oh, okay. So Quitman.
Quitman.
Okay.
Quitman. Quit letting them cross the road.
Right,
it's illegal.
They had to stop a lot of things down there, but I'd say the chicken problem. Yeah, that's. I wonder what they would do with like a really deep question, like what came first, the chicken or the egg? I think if you threw that one at them, they would outlaw chickens altogether. They wouldn't. They're gone.
Listen, and they're so crazy about their chickens in Georgia that to ensure the safety and sacredness of them, in Gainesville, Georgia, you have to eat fried chicken with your bare hands.
Yeah. But they want you to dig right in. It's only us northern Yankees that would go down there and eat chicken with our gloves on, because we're too prissy. You have to dig in there, you know.
I'm saying though, but like you don't let them cross the road, and we have to have our bare hands to eat them.
Right.
I don't know what's wrong with Georgia and their chickens. They got something with their chickens.
They do. I would say down in Georgia, they have a lot of things with a lot of farm animals.
Just not donkey shows?
Right, just not donkey shows. They're in Arizona. In the bathtub.
Before 7 p.m. on Thursdays. Right,
exactly. Only on Thursdays, because that way you get them all cleaned up for Friday night's donkey show.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now, we're going to actually go over to your state.
Sweet. Because we're stupid too.
Which I actually like the law, but the fact that it even has to be on the books is just a little bit crazy to me. But in Ohio, that's where Don is from. He is in Ohio. Every operator of an underground coal mine must provide an adequate supply of toilet paper with each toilet.
Makes perfect sense. But
what do you do during the pandemic?
Where do you think it all went?
The toilet paper or the shit? Which one are you asking me?
Both. There were coal miners from everywhere in Ohio that were just going throughout the state, raiding all the stores, buying up all the toilet paper because they didn't want to be caught off guard with that law. And here's the thing, though. What determines an adequate supply? Right?
Like, doesn't it determine, like, isn't it based on how many times you roll it around your hand per each individual?
Right. I mean, is there a certain algorithm? Because some people will need it more often. It depends on your diet. It depends on your general health. I would say if you spend a lot of time down in a mine shaft, you're probably not in the best of health. So you might need a little bit more. So what is an adequate supply? What if there's a cave-in? As happens in mines, how much are you required to have in that case?
Is it like weight? Is it body weight times roll divided by
mass
frequency
divided by mass?
Right? Like, I don't know what that algorithm is.
It all depends on how you say it. It's actually mass. You have to divide it by mass.
Mass.
Yes,
That's what he said.
we had a physics teacher in high school that used to say it. Just I swear there was a pause every time he said the center mass, and it's like, what the hell is he talking about?
It sounded
and
like you just said the center of my ass, but go ahead.
Exactly, that's what he sounded like every time he said it. He asked one of the kids in the class, said, "Joe, can you come up to the chalkboard and put your finger in the center mass?" Fuck no, I'm not doing that.
Completely legal. It's completely legal.
Right. Exactly.
I don't see that in here any law.
Right. Right. You are allowed to have a high school student. No, I'm not going there. I'm not going
there. So in Virginia, and this gets me to wondering about your Mr. and Mrs. Harmon.
Mm-hmm.
In Virginia, fornication or sex is completely banned. Oh, well, no, they're married. Completely banned except for married couple. It is still technically punishable as a misdemeanor.
Well, actually, Mr. and Mrs. Harmon, I've seen pictures of them, and I'm sure they share the same last name. Not sure it's because of marriage. They look very much alike. If you take his goatee and put it on her, you can't tell the difference.
Well, they say couples that stay together long enough start looking like alike, just like what pets.
Right. Well, yeah, because they grew up in the same house with the same parents, probably.
Listen, if you would have said West Virginia, I would have thought, okay, maybe.
West Virginia, it's not that far.
But so technically, if you are having premarital sex, it is illegal in Virginia. But I thought Virginia was for lovers.
Just not unmarried lovers. Yeah, just married lovers only. So because if you're not married, you're not in love. That's not love. You're just fornicators.
Listen. You could. We all know you could be married and not in love. Like,
oh, absolutely. I've been wait.
Marriage does not quantify shit.
No, but, only in Virginia. See, I told you they're kind of backwards there too. That's the Bible Belt, and that's the problem. The belt don't fit me no more.
So, did you know that if you were in Alabama on a Sunday, you cannot play bingo? I'm sorry, dominoes. Dominoes. You can't play dominoes.
Oh, that was
no
shocking.
Dominoes in Alabama on Sundays. No dominoes.
Bingo, I can understand. Dominoes, no. That's infringing on my constitutional rights right there. But did you know if I was in Alabama, I'd move really quick?
Because isn't it like a tradition to have dominoes with a fish fry? Like you have a fish fry and then you just have dominoes.
Is that like, how it works?
I think that's how it works. Yeah. Like the family comes together, you do a big fish fry, and everybody's out there playing dominoes on a Sunday after church.
Yeah, I had never played dominoes. I didn't realize that dominoes was a game. I thought it was just stuff you stacked up next to each other and knocked down.
It's a game. Oh, and if you go to the Caribbean islands, oh man, they're so serious about their game. They put money on it and everything.
I've been to the Caribbean islands. I never played dominoes there either. I knew it was a game by that point, but when I was younger, I just thought it's like, what do you mean play dominoes? You mean set them up and knock them down? That's.
I thought you were gonna say pizza delivery. Like, that's the only dominoes I know.
No, because that's terrible stuff.
It absolutely is. Dwayne says it's called Dirty South for a reason. You are not lying.
That is true. It's the dominoes.
What I confused was North Carolina. Bingo games cannot last more than 5 hours.
Oh, well, that makes sense. The amount of malnutritioned old people after 5 hours of playing a bingo marathon, they're just going to be dropping left and right. It's very dangerous. That is some of them make sense.
Yeah, like as a hospice nurse, I would appreciate that. I think they should put that law into effect down in Atlantic City.
What? A lot of bingo in Atlantic City? Is that
just the gambling period? Like you got all those old people down there with their oxygen tank, like. It's like, and they don't have any windows on purpose because they don't want you to know what time it is and that you can spend 20 hours in there. Yeah. The only good part is it's free alcohol.
Yeah, I'm there. I've never been to Atlantic City.
I'll play the same quarter over and over again just to keep getting free screwdrivers. Fuck out of here. Screwdrivers.
Because most of them, if you're at the table games, they'll provide free drinks. But if you're just playing the slots,
you get they do. In Vegas, nice. NAC. Yep. I don't know about anywhere else. They said he's in North Carolina, no alcohol before 3 p.m. or 3, I guess. No alcohol stores open on Sunday. Yeah, and we still have a dry counties. Yeah, that's the blue law, right? The no alcohol Sundays. I think that's the blue law, right? Do you know in Paramus, New Jersey, they still have the blue law?
Did not know that.
Stores, like, look at this. I'm just a wealth of knowledge. Stores, I don't know if it's changed recently, but stores, car dealerships, and all that have to be closed on Sundays.
Really? Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yep. So no shopping in Paramus. That's why I don't live there.
Terrible.
So in South Carolina, here you are with all these damn South states. South Carolina, a male over the age of 16 cannot seduce a woman by falsely promising to marry her. However, no law exists with the gender roles reversed. So if you're 16 and older, you cannot manipulate a woman by telling her you're going to marry her. That is illegal. I like that law.
Are you allowed to propose and then change your mind later? I mean, where do they draw the line?
I guess you have to show intent, right?
Right. I guess. I don't know. If there's a 16-year-old out there that wants to get married, bring him to me, because there will be a 16-year-old that's slapped in the face. There's something wrong with you.
But I'm saying it's like, well, it's just any males, right? I think any woman is going to appreciate this law. Like, you can't play me and think that you are going to keep me in a relationship by the promise of marriage and seduce me that way, because I'm going to take your ass to court. We going to court. I'm going to call the law enforcement, and I've been with you 2 damn years. All right, this is South Carolina. Been with your ass 2 damn years. You should be marrying me by now, and you did it. You seduced my ass. Now you're gonna go to jail for 2 years, and you're gonna tell me how you like that.
If they're with you 2 years, that's intent.
See, but intent what? Intent to seduce me or intent to marry me?
If it takes them 2 years to seduce you, they got other problems. especially with the promise of marriage. It's like, how the hell does that even work? Because, I could see if it's like you just met him. Like, hey, let's get married, but first we got to take care of something.
Well, he just said in South Carolina you can marry a person and divorce them on the same day.
Okay. Well, there's the way out of it. There's the way out of it. Yeah, because that's legal, but it's not. Well, now we know why you can marry him and divorce him the same day, because they have that law forcing people to get married if they promise it just to seduce them. So they seduce them. They say, okay, now let's get divorced. We're married.
See,
so yeah, that's
the see. Men wrote that law.
Oh yeah,
that's all that shit.
Absolutely,
men wrote it. That's
yeah. We're pigs. We're gonna
protect. It's like we're gonna pretend, women, that we're protecting your rights of being seduced, but actually we got this little loophole right here.
Right. There's always a loophole. Any one of those laws, I bet you, if you look closely enough, even the one about the mule in the bathtub after 7 on Thursdays, I bet there's a way around that.
I'm sure it's gonna be. Was it Eastern time, Mountain time?
Right.
What time are we working on?
Right. It all depends.
Is it the sundial that tells you? I don't know.
Yep. There's always a way out. That's why attorneys exist. If there wasn't a way out of all these stupid laws, then they wouldn't have to be there.
I'm always.
But they're there so they can find a way out.
Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense. So we're gonna travel up north just a little bit, and we're gonna head over to Pennsylvania. And did you know that you have to actually dismantle your car and hide it if you're sharing the road with a team of skittish horses?
Now, dismantle.
Dismantle your car. That's the law. Dismantle it and hide it if you are on the road with a team of skittish horses that you suspect they're skittish.
So it's only if you suspect they're skittish.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah.
So you can just go on about your business, and if they pull you over later, say, I didn't suspect a thing.
Well, so here's my thing.
Those look like very confident horses. They were pulling that carriage like, hey, look at the shit I can do. That is not skittish. I've never seen a skittish horse on the road pulling a wagon.
What defines skittish? Like, what do they actually have to be doing for it to be defined?
You're not going to know they're skittish until you spook them.
Right.
Then you're going to know, and then it's too late to dismantle your car and hide it. So that's...
I'm thinking, right? So these are obviously older laws that are on these books. Was there ever a car that we were able to dismantle? Like, am I that dumb that I don't know that?
Oh, yeah, you can pull off and shut them down. You pull the crank out so it won't, yeah. Oh, the old ones with the old hand crank, you could pull it out. That way nobody could actually start it. I guess that's the equivalent now of pulling the key out of the ignition. But how do you hide it that quick, though? Do you just drive it into the brush or something?
Listen, when I hear dismantle, I'm thinking about the side doors coming off, the hood. I'm thinking like you're taking this whole shit apart.
I would think all the noise from the impact wrenches would scare the horses far more than seeing a car.
You know, I mean, I know there's still horses out in Pennsylvania and Lancaster, like the way he said, in Amish
country, yeah.
I've never seen them skittish at all.
So you'd have to drive around with like a pit crew in the back, just in case, like, oh, shit, horses! And you'd pull over, they'd jack you up, pull the tires, give a full rotation, give you some oil, gas you back up. By the time the horses are gone, put everything back together, boom, you're done.
I think that's a good way. That's a great way to get a tune-up. Shit.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's expensive, though, because those pit crews don't come cheap because they work fast. They're trained to do that.
We got marriage should be like 90 days, same as cash. You try it out. And then she says, what is the horse skittish about? Being caught smoking weed? Yeah. Listen, right?
Those pothead horses are really paranoid. They just
let me tell you right now, like if he's smoking weed, he ain't skittish. It's that other shit. If he's taking a Molly, maybe.
That horse shooting up and little crackhead horses. That's what we don't need. Yeah, that's a skittish horse right there.
Yeah, we're mellowing out. He's just eating the hay like, what's up?
Right, yeah.
You don't even notice your car. I'm telling you, I'll grab one more.
All right.
Let me see one more, and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, in Missouri, you cannot, under any circumstances, drive with an uncaged bear in your car.
I think that is good advice everywhere, not just in Missouri. It's just most people have the sense not to. In Missouri, they're like, hey, remember that uncaged bear you have? Now take him for a ride. That's Missouri thought process right there. Are we talking grizzly? Are we talking black bear, polar bear? They don't specify. Is it just any bear at all? What if you have a koala bear or a teddy bear? What if that's all you have? Do you have to cage your kid's teddy bear?
Shit, cage your kid. But that's
the best way to drive. Cage him and throw him in the trunk. They ain't gonna make noise. I told you we ain't stopping to pee.
So my thing is, I think Peter would be on my ass if I caged it, though. Like, wouldn't Peter have a problem?
Exactly. The best way to transport your bear is on a leash, hanging your arm out the window, pulling him along. Because that's way safer than having them in the car with you, because everybody knows when you have a bear in the car, whether they're in the front seat with you in the back seat, they might get skittish, especially if you pass a team of horses with weed. And then they're going to go nuts. They're going to tear your back seat up. Your kid's fucking dead. Forget it. Your kid's already been demolished and eaten. There's no getting him back at that point. The best thing at this point would have been to cage the bear and leave it somewhere else. Like, don't put it in the car with you, even in a cage.
Listen,
now, is this just in cars or this transporting in general?
Cars.
Can you
it
put
said
them
in cars.
So just in the side of the
car.
car. So even if you had like a truck, you could put them in the back of the truck uncaged.
Yes, probably.
So long as they're not in the cab with you.
Listen, bears' lives matter too, and I am not putting him in a cage. I'm not putting him in a cage.
Right. That's wrong. That's wrong.
Like,
it's inappropriate. Bears deserve their freedom, and they need to hang their head out the window just like your dog does. Just drag their tongue along the side so you got all that slobber running down the side of your car. That is a bear's right.
If you can't handle my bear, okay, that is your problem, not mine. Right. Leave me and my bear alone. He should not be discriminated against. If the dogs could do it and the cats could do it, then my bear, god damn it, can do it too. All right? Leave my bear alone.
So my suggestion at this point is keep your bear out of Missouri.
That's it. And you're good to go. You know?
And Holly Shock, I don't doubt it. I love you to pieces, Holly. Thank you for listening to this show tonight.
Yes, thank you for coming on and hearing all our craziness. I want to thank you so much for being on the show. This was a blast. This was fun. At the end of the day, nobody can say we didn't provide knowledge. We did.
Don't know what it is. Whatever that knowledge may be.
Listen, nobody said that having useless information in your brain wasn't an asset. At some point, you're going to pull it out of your head. You're going to be in a board meeting and you're going to be like, did you know in Missouri you cannot drive with uncaged bears? And it's just going to work. It's just going to happen. It's going to work. Tell everybody again where we can find you.
You can find me all over the place. The Life 1069, I have all my links there. If you want to go to Linktree for all the episodes of All the Life on all the different formats, go to linktr.ee/The Life Radio Show. You can find me on Facebook at the Life 1069. You can find me on Twitter at Don Smith Comedy. You can always check out Wiley'sComedy.com if you're coming through the Dayton area. We always have a lot of great shows on the weekends there. Just all over the place. Check me out on IMDb, imdb.me/Donald Smith. That's right, Donald. That's how long ago I made that page. So, and be sure to check out all my films, all the ones with William Lee. They're so much fun. Henrik Kuto, I've done a number of films with him. I'm looking forward. There's another one I was recently cast in. I can't say too much about it, but it's called Big Trouble in Jackass Flats, and it's written by a good friend of mine, Mike Canistero. It's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait to start filming that film because it's going to be a blast.
And
thanks so much for having me on.
No, of course. Thank you for being a guest. Once we get that information with the new show, I'll definitely post it on the Ciphered page so everybody can come check it out, take a look. Thank you so much for being on. I do want to also give a shout out to Spittin' with Spitter. He comes on every Wednesday at 8 p.m. live. Then you have Around the Turnbuckle Saturdays and Sundays at 6 p.m. And you have Home Team Sports and Entertainment on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. all live on Facebook and YouTube. William, thank you for staying the whole show. I appreciate it. I'm going to go check out your show. We've got so much going on. I can't believe we're halfway through season 2 already. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of feeling weird about that. Like, I got to start prepping for season 3 now. But I'm going to leave you with what I leave everybody at the end of the show, which is if all you've experienced is all you know, then you are in a deficit of knowledge. So thank you so much for joining the Cipher, being a part of this. If you're watching this on the replay, just click in some notes, leave some comments, let us know if you enjoyed it. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can get notifications of when I go live. Every Sunday, 8 p.m., I go live with different guests. But click that subscribe button so that you can be notified every time I go live. And listen, guys, I will be back Next week, I actually have a double header. I have Saturday and Sunday. So keep an eye out for that. And one love.